making a horror game called V.O.I.D, and today I'm going to be showing you everything from terrible ideas to game-breaking bugs and finally the game starting to come together. From now on this channel, I'll be documenting my progress and showing you all the pain and suffering that comes with making a game. Joy of making a game. Now, before we start, I have one request. Do not laugh at what you're about to see. This is a very serious piece of game development history. Okay, you can laugh a little bit at this masterpiece. So the first thing I made was the idea for the game. Right? Wrong. Because for some reason, Genius Me decided to start with the gameplay, before I even knew what the game was about. Peak game design. So this is our player. It's not a lot, but it is not a little. Okay, it's just not a lot. But it's also not a little. The movement script is a little long, but hey, it works most of the time. Was I satisfied? Absolutely not. Instead, I added cursed graphics system, a so-called enemy AI, a bunch of random mechanics that never even made it into the game. Looking back, I probably spent way too much time making systems I didn't need. But even though most of them got scrapped, I still learned a lot from it. And those experiments helped me build something much better later on. Now this is where I started to cook. I finally came up with an actual game idea for the game. The best way I can describe it is think Amanda the Adventurer if the budget was about $12. Okay, well, it's a puzzle horror game where you try to escape a prison cell using a computer called V.O.I.D. Once I had the idea, the universe started to come in together. I added a VHS filter and gave the game a creepy retro feel, and honestly, it looks absolutely insane. Like the graphics and everything and the lighting, this looks miles from originally without the VHS filter. But it took way too long for my liking. And then I modeled the very first version of the prison cell. Now, I'm not going to pretend it looked amazing. In fact, it looked pretty rough. But trust me, it gets a little better. Over time, I remodeled parts of the room, improved the lighting, added more props, and slowly the game started to look like an actual horror game that still had a bunch of cubes. But of course, to get to this point wasn't exactly easy, because there were bugs. Lots of bugs. Now I know this is a part that you've all been waiting for. The bugs. There were plenty of them. Somehow I managed to fix those bugs while still adding some pretty cool features. The computer was one of the biggest milestones in the project. As in Amanda the Adventurer, the TV was like a third of the game, and mine's is no different. The computer somehow ended up having more polygons than almost everything else in the room combined, mostly because everything else barely had any polygons. But why need to optimize, right? Right? Okay, I'll just continue. I also added some vents and a table. Very advanced game development right there. Despite all the weird problems, though most of the game started to look like something I was actually proud of, right now I'm working on turning the computer into a fully functional display, instead of just a decoration. And I even made a custom splash screen for the game, which I would also use for the computer. There still is a huge amount left to build new mechanics, more rooms, stories, sound effects, basically everything. But for the first time, it actually feels like Void is becoming a real game. So, what do I think so far? Honestly, it's way too early to say whether this project will turn into a great game. There's still a mountain of work ahead of me, and I'm sure there's plenty of more bugs waiting around the corner. But I'm really happy where I'm heading, and I'm excited to keep improving it, one update at a time. If you want to see Void grow from an early prototype to a finished horror game, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next devlog. And if you have any ideas or feedbacks, please leave a comment below. I'll read all of them. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next one.